أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولكل وجهة هو موليها. And for each religious group is a direction which it faces.
فاستبقوا الخيرات.
So hasten to do the good deeds. I don't have any elaboration here. أينما تكونوا يأتي بكم الله جميعا. No matter where you are when you die, Allah will bring you all together on Resurrection Day. إن الله على كل شيء قدير. Surely Allah is over everything, including bringing you forth from your graves wherever you may be. Very powerful. Because on Judgment Day, like you know, all the people will be gathered on the same day at the same place. ومن حيث خرجت فول وجهك شطر المسجد الحرام. And from wherever you went out for travel, turn your face towards the sacred masjid for prayer. Yani towards its direction. Shatr means jihah, towards its direction. So what's not a direction? A travel route, that's not a direction. The shape of the earth is not a direction. A shortest distance, that's not a direction. وَإِنَّهُ لَلْحَقُّ مِنْ رَبِّكَ. And surely that command is certainly the truth from your Lord. وَمَا اللَّهُ بِغَافِلٍ عَمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ. And Allah is not at all heedless of what you do. Yani, there's emphasis there actually. وَمَا اللَّهُ بِغَافِلٍ. Because of this ba here. This ba emphasizes the negation. Ma is the negating particle. وَمَا اللَّهُ بِغَافِلٍ عَمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ. And Allah is not at all heedless of what you do. وَمِنْ حَيْثُ خَرَجْتَ فَوَلِّ وَجْهَكَ شَطْرَ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ. And from wherever you, Muhammad, went out, then turn your face or yourself, wajhak, towards the sacred masjid, al-Masjidul Haram. That's the masjid that contains the Kaaba. وَحَيْثُ مَا كُنْتُمْ فَوَلُّوا وُجُوهَكُمْ شَطْرَهُ. And wherever you believers were, turn your faces in its direction. لِأَلَّا يَكُونَ لِلنَّاسِ عَلَيْكُمْ حُجَّةٌ. Do that so that the Jewish and pagan people would not have any argument against you. Since the Jews said, Muhammad denied our religion yet faced our Qibla. And the pagans said, he claimed the religion of Abraham yet went against his Qibla. That's what those people would argue. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا مِنْهُمْ. Except those of them who are unjust. They still argue regardless. They say he only faced it for his inclination to the religion of his ancestors. فَلَا تَخْشَوْهُمْ وَاخْشَوْنِي. So do not fear debating with them about which way to face. That's Jalalain. Don't fear them. فَلَا تَخْشَوْهُمْ. Do not fear them, according to Jalalain, means don't fear debating with them about the Qibla. And do not fear their criticisms. That's Nasafi. Don't fear them. Don't fear debating with them. And don't fear their criticisms. وَاخْشَوْنِي. And fear me by obeying my commands. وَلِأُتِمَّ نِعْمَتِي عَلَيْكُمْ وَلَعَلَّكُمْ تَهْتَدُونَ. And turn that way so that I may complete my endowment upon you by rewarding you in the afterlife, and so that you may be guided to the Qibla of Abraham. Here, وَلِأُتِمَّ نِعْمَتِي. This is similar to something that I told you last time, which is that you would find an ayah of the Quran. It says, كَذَلِكَ, like that. You wouldn't know, maybe. Like what? So then you need to know what's the link there, or what's the significance of that. And something like this too. وَلِأُتِمَّ نِعْمَتِي عَلَيْكُمْ. And so that I complete my endowment upon you. So someone might say, and so that, yani what? What's that? So here, according to the Tafsir, and turn that way, so that I may complete my endowment upon you by rewarding you in the afterlife. وَلَعَلَّكُمْ تَهْتَدُونَ. And so that you may be guided to the Qibla of Abraham. كَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا فِيكُمْ رَسُولًا مِّنكُمْ. Just as we have completed our endowment upon you in the worldly life, and sent among you, or sent to you, Muhammad, a messenger who is one of you Arabs. يَتْلُو عَلَيْكُمْ آيَاتِنَا. And that's the supplication of Abraham to remind you. كَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا فِيكُمْ رَسُولًا مِّنكُمْ. Just as we have sent amongst you a messenger, or sent to you a messenger who's one of you, and the tafsir means who's one of you Arabs. That's the supplication of Abraham when he left his slave woman and their baby in the desert. And then he made dua and he said, "Oh Allah, send to them a messenger who recites to them your verses and who, etc." The rest of his dua. Yatlu alaykum ayatina, reciting on you our verses. Wa yuzakkikum, and purifying you from paganism. Wa yu'allimukumul kitaba wal hikmah, and teaching you the book and the prophetic way. The sunnah, that is the wisdom, that means the hadiths. Al-kitab wal-hikmah, that's the Quran and the hadiths. But not according to the hadith deniers. According to the hadith deniers, the hikmah, the wisdom, that's the Quran itself. So their tafsir of this ayah means teaching you the book and the wisdom, which is the book itself too. According to Ahlul Sunnah, the kitab and the hikmah are two different things here. وَيُعَلِّمُكُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةِ. The people of the Sunnah said, there is something that goes along with the kitab, something obvious that goes along with the kitab. It's like the people of the Sunnah are saying, those hadith deniers are a bunch of morons, don't listen to them. The Prophet comes with two things. He comes with a book and he comes with something that goes along with that book, that accompanies it, that's known and famous and obvious. In the Quran, that's called the hikmah, the wisdom. And we call it the sunnah. And we mean here the hadiths. وَيُعَلِّمُكُم مَّا لَمْ تَكُونُوا تَعْلَمُونَ. And teaching you what you were not knowing, had it not been for the revelation. The Prophet, he came teaching them what they didn't know. That's an evidence for the need of prophets, because our minds can know impossibilities without a prophet, and our minds can know necessities without a prophet. But possibilities are things that could be or might not be. Possibilities are things that their probabilities are not more or less likely. So we don't know that. The mind alone doesn't know one possibility from another possibility without a proof. So Allah sent prophets and he taught the people there is heaven and there is hell and there are angels and there is reward and punishments. There is resurrection and there is responsibility and accountability. فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ. Therefore, Allah says, mention me, O believers, or remember me, or recall me, O believers, by prayer and by glorification, yani dhikr. and the like. أذكركم, I will mention you. Mention me or remember me, I will mention you, O believers, by having mercy upon you and forgiving you. I will mention you. What does that mean? This is evidence that Allah Ta'ala is attributed with an attribute called kalam, speech. Didn't we learn that Allah Ta'ala has attributes that are mentioned in the Quran explicitly and implicitly? Yes. The scholar says it's obligatory to know them because they were repeated so many times in the Quran. Yes. And sometimes those are repeated in different words, sometimes with the same words, and sometimes indirectly. Yani, it's extracted. The meaning of the attribute is extracted from the verse. Here, فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ, mention me, I will mention you. Mentioning is the meaning of speech. Yani, speech means mentioning and means informing. Mentioning means informing, and saying. So you have three words here. Telling, informing. So that's ikhbar, telling, informing. Ikhbar, and dhikr, mentioning, and kalam, speaking, which means saying, qawl. So those three have the same meaning. So Allah mentions with an uncreated speech. Mentions here means speak. فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ. Therefore, mention me, O believers, by prayer, glorification, and the like, or remember me, and I will mention you by having mercy upon you and forgiving you. That's Tabari's explanation. وَاشْكُرُوا لِي وَلَا تَكْفُرُونَ. And be thankful to me by obedience. Yani, appreciate me, O believers, and do not be ungrateful to me by disobedience. Because the thanks to God is to obey Him. And the ungratefulness is to disobey Him. So take the example of someone, if you did him a favor, you let him stay at your house, for example. And then you came back to find that he wrecked your house, destroyed it. So you'd say to him, "This is how you thank me?" Or you might say to him, "You are so ungrateful." So that's to make you understand what it means to thank Allah by obedience and not be ungrateful by disobedience. يا أيها الذين آمنوا استعينوا بالصبر والصلاة. O those who believed, seek assistance for the afterlife through patience with obedience and calamity, because by patience, you can attain every merit. And seek the assistance by prayer, because of its frequency, 5 times per day, and you can even do more. And because of its greatness, prayer prevents one from sins. Yani, one might pray, and then when he goes outside, he wouldn't sin because of the blessing of the prayer. And you might find that, especially if you do sunnah prayers, it gives you extra support. Inna Allah ma'as-sabirin. Surely Allah supports the patient ones by helping them. Subhanallah wa bihamdi. So what's the patience, by the way? There's 3 types of obligatory patience, and there is a recommended patience. The greatest obligatory patience is the patience with avoiding sins, because that takes the most self-control. And there's also patience with doing the obligations, like you woke up at Fajr time, you're still drowsy, maybe even you need to take a ghusl, maybe you don't even have warm water, you still have to do it. And there's patience with calamities, poverty, death in the family, other tragedies, calamities, hardships. You're not going to let those be a reason for you to sin. Like, you have very bad situations, so because of that, you will wrong someone because you feel like crap. You allow the calamity to enable you to sin. So those are obligatory patience. Patience with avoiding the sin. Patience with doing the obligation. Patience with calamities. That means not to object to Allah because of these calamities, not to sin because of these calamities. And then there's a recommended patience, which is avoiding permissible pleasures, avoiding permissible pleasures, like not putting salt in your food, not putting ketchup on your food, not eating another helping of food, for example, and the likes of that, not getting the fanciest clothing, fanciest things. Let's say you're able to also, because when you're able to is when you're going to be so patient, not get that nicest car that you could have, for example, or house or whatever. But it's not haram though. It's not haram for a Muslim to enjoy delicious food. If his food tastes good, so he's happy because it tastes good. That's not haram or disliked, or you have to feel shy from that. ولا تقولوا لمن يقتل في سبيل الله أموات. And say not about those who are slain while fighting for the sake of Allah, they are dead. بل أحياء ولكن لا تشعرون. Rather, they are alive, but you do not perceive what they experience. وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ. And we swear to see if you will be patient and remain obedient or not. We will most certainly test you, believers, with something of each of these types of calamities. And before I mention them, it says here to see if you will or you won't doesn't mean he doesn't know. Allah tests to expose what he knows. The slaves test to expose what they don't know. You don't know, so you test him so you can find out. Allah knows, and then he tests you so you will show it. But that's a feast tafsir there. Maybe some people might not appreciate the way that's worded there. Yani, maybe if it needs some adjustment, we can adjust it. وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ. And we swear, the way it's written here is, to see if you will be patient and remain obedient or not, and that doesn't mean he doesn't know. So if that needs to be adjusted, we can adjust it, inshallah. We will most certainly test you, believers, with something. بشيء من الخوف والجوع ونقص من الأموال والأنفس والثمرات. بشيء من الخوف والجوع ونقص من الأموال والأنفس والثمرات. We will test you with something of each of these types of calamities: fear of an enemy, and hunger by drought, and loss of properties and lives due to killing and sickness, and loss of fruits due to outbreak. وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. And O Muhammad, give the glad tidings of paradise to those who are patient. الذين إذا أصابتهم مصيبة قالوا. Those who, when adversity befalls them, they say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Surely we belong to Allah. He does with us as He wills, and surely we, for His judgment, shall return to life. So that's what you say in your time of calamity. That's better than profanity, S word, F word, etc. Better than that is to say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Even if you just said, Inna lillah, that's better. Indeed, we belong to Allah. So that's guidance from Allah Ta'ala. Say that in your calamity. أولئك عليهم صلوات من ربهم ورحمة. Those forgiveness from their Lord is theirs. Yani they have forgiveness from their Lord and mercy. وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُهْتَدُونَ. And those, they are the guided ones, guided to what is correct. Because the pagan Arabs used to pace between As-Safa and Al-Marwa, those two mountains, and there was an idol atop each mountain which they used to wipe. The Muslims were averse to this sa'i, this pacing. They were afraid that it's like what the kuffar do. And so Allah revealed, إن الصفا والمروة من شعائر الله إن الصفا والمروة إن الصفا والمروة من شعائر الله. Surely the two Meccan mountains, As-Safa and Al-Marwa, are among the signs of the religion of Allah. Yani, if some kuffar are doing something, that doesn't mean that now it's theirs and the Muslims can't do anything with this. Because that might be something that came from the Muslims before the nation of Muhammad. Like the Kaaba itself. We're not going to say, the pagans commandeered it. Khalas, it's gone, it's lost, it's theirs now. And what's like that? You know what some Wahhabis will say to you? They would say, Dhikr beats, that's from the Christians. That's from the Catholics. They have their Hail Mary beads or something. So no. Where they got that from? They got that from the Muslims before them, and because they perverted the religion of Jesus, or what? The Muslims didn't take that from them. إن الصفا والمروة من شعائر الله. Surely the two Meccan mountains, As-Safa and Al-Marwa, are among the signs of the religion of Allah. فمن حج البيت أو اعتمر فلا جناح عليه أن يطوف بهما. So whoever sought the house of the Kaaba for pilgrimage or visited for Umrah, there is no sin on him for going between them. So فمن حج البيت, whoever seeks the house. That's the meaning of Hajj in language. Al-Qasd, whoever aims for the house, whoever seeks it out, whoever targets it. That means whoever goes to the Kaaba to do the rituals there. That's called the worship of Hajj. That ritual, which is time sensitive. This Hajj is time sensitive. Lasts for a few days. You need to get there so that you can do Arafah and other things. And then get out of Ihram. So whoever did that, whoever went for Hajj, or i'tamara, or he visited the house so that he can do worships there too, that's similar to the Hajj, but it's not like the Hajj. It's not, yani, I said similar, but it's not like it. Exactly, yani, it's not exactly like it. It's similar to it in some ways and not exactly like it. So it has some of the integrals of Hajj. It has some of the elements of Hajj, but it's not as time sensitive. It doesn't have Arafah. It doesn't have everything that Hajj has. So you can go there any time of the year and visit and do some worships there and then go home. So the Umrah is a visit to the Kaaba. And the Hajj is a mission to the Kaaba. It's different connotation there. فَمَنْ حَجَّ الْبَيْتَ أَوْ اعْتَمَرَ فَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْهِ أَنْ يَطَّوَّفَ بِهِمَا. So whoever sought the house of the Kaaba for pilgrimage, or he visited for Umrah, there is no sin on him for going between those two mountains. That's actually a ritual for the Hajj. That's in commemoration of what Hajar did when she and the baby were in the desert and she was desperate looking for help. So she went between the mountains 7 times. It doesn't originate from the pagans. وَمَن تَطَوَّعَ خَيْرًا فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ شَاكِرٌ عَلِيمٌ. And whoever volunteered doing a good deed, whether tawaf or otherwise, then surely Allah is Shakir, rewarding plenty for little, knowledgeable of everything big and small. So Shakir means, in the language, means appreciative or thankful. So I didn't find it to say about Allah appreciative or thankful, so I didn't translate it. He's Shakir, and the meaning of it, really, the tafsir of it is he gives a lot of reward for little obedience. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ شَاكِرٌ عَلِيمٌ. Surely Allah is Shakir and knower, knowledgeable of everything big and small. إن الذين يكتمون ما أنزلنا من البينات والهدى من بعد ما بيناه للناس في الكتاب. Surely those rabbis who conceal what we have revealed in the Torah of the clear verses about Muhammad's prophethood and the verse of stoning, if you remember the story, and what we have revealed of the guidance to Islam by Muhammad's description, after we have clarified it for the people in the book of the Torah. Those rabbis who hid that after it was clarified in the Torah, أُولَٰئِكَ يَلْعَنُهُمُ اللَّهُ وَيَلْعَنُهُمُ اللَّاعِنُونَ. Those, Allah damns them, He curses them. That means He banishes them from His mercy during their lives. And the damners, whether angels, humans, or genies, also damn them by supplicating against them to be cursed. Very bad situation. Being cursed or damned means being banished from Allah's mercy. May Allah have mercy on us and protect us from that. So, yeah, some sins, they have a la'nah. They come with the damning. Person could be cursed for doing it. Like among them is turning a woman against her husband. The one who turns a woman against her husband is cursed. Be careful there. When a sister has a problem with her husband, you want to be on her side. Be careful there. Also, who cuts ties with his families is cursed. With his Muslim family, he's cursed without an excuse. Also, who commits bestiality is cursed. May Allah protect us. Ameen. And what else? Allah knows what else out there. There's so many sins. Didn't we learn about the sins in the obligatory knowledge? Yes. We learned about the sins in the obligatory knowledge. But that's not all the sins. So many sins. May Allah protect us. Ameen. إلا الذين تابوا وأصلحوا وبينوا فأولئك أتوب عليهم. Except those who repented from concealing the truth and abandoning faith. And they amended their actions. That means they redeemed themselves. And they revealed what they hid. Those are whom I accept their repentance. وَأَنَا التَّوَّابُ الرَّحِيمُ. And I am at-Tawwab rahim, very forgiving and merciful to the believers. إن الذين كفروا وماتوا وهم كفار أولئك عليهم لعنة الله. Surely those concealers who disbelieved and died as disbelievers, those upon them is the curse of Allah after death. عليهم لعنة الله والملائكة والناس أجمعين. Upon them is the curse of Allah after death, and of the angels, and of the people entirely. خالدين فيها, abiding in that damnation forever. Or abiding in hell forever. يعني خالدين فيها, abiding therein. Immortals therein. يعني immortals in it. What's it? Ha fiha, in it. Khalidina, as immortals, fiha, in it. So fiha here goes back to a word that's actually stated in the text, then it's la'na. Khalidina fiha, abiding in that damnation. So that's why it says here damnation. Taking the pronoun back to a word that's actually stated. Or if this pronoun goes back to hell in particular, then it's going back to something that wasn't stated here. Hell hasn't been mentioned here. So that is a tafsir, though. Some said it means in hell. So then someone might ask, where's hell? How's that? So it's possible. Yani, that's valid Arabic, that's valid tafsir. But so according to what we have documented right here, we took it back to a word that's actually stated in the text. Khalidina fiha, abiding in that damnation forever. What it means in hell, though. What does the footnote say? In hell itself, as proven by it not being lightened for them. Yeah, because of what comes after it. لا يخفف عنهم العذاب. The torture shall not be lightened for them. So that proves that, according to that, that validates saying that this pronoun refers to hell. It doesn't refer to the damnation. وَلَا هُمْ يُنظَرُونَ. The torture shall not be lightened for them even for the blink of an eye, nor shall they be spared. وَإِلَهُكُمْ إِلَهٌ وَاحِدٌ. And your God is one God. لا إله إلا هو الرحمن الرحيم. There's no God but He. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Merciful to believers and disbelievers in the earthly life. Yani, the one who's merciful to everyone in the world. And the one who's merciful exclusively to believers in the afterlife. إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار. Surely, in the creation of the marvels within heavens and earth. Heavens and earth, because that's what we see mostly. Yani, we see earth that we live upon, and we see heavens above us. واختلاف الليل والنهار. And in the alternation of night and day. How do they alternate? They alternate by coming and going. It will be night and then it will be day. Then it will be night and then it will be day. And they also alternate in length of time. So in the winter, for example, the day is short and the night is long. And in the summer, the day is long and the night is short. وَالْفُلْكِ الَّتِي تَجْرِي فِي الْبَحْرِ بِمَا يَنْفَعُ النَّاسِ. And in the ships that run in the sea without sinking, although they're so big. If you ever saw some of those ships, huge. By the power of Allah, they don't go under the water. Ships that run in the sea without sinking, with cargo that benefits the people. وَمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مِن مَاءٍ, and in what Allah brings down from the sky of water. That's very amazing if you think about it. If you don't think about it, it's not amazing to you. If you do think about it, you'd say, wow, water comes out of the sky. That's amazing. But if you don't think about it, you'll be like, water is coming out of the sky again. That's where it's supposed to come from. That's normal. فَأَحْيَا بِهِ الْأَرْضَ بَعْدَ مَوْتِهَا, water by which he revives the vegetation of the earth after its death. The death of the earth, which is the withering of its plants. وَبَثَّ فِيهَا مِن كُلِّ دَابَّةٍ, and by that lushness he made spread throughout the earth every sort of crawling thing. وَتَصْرِيفِ الرِّيَاحِ, and in the fluctuation of the winds. وَالسَّحَابِ الْمُسَخَّرِ بَيْنَ السَّمَاءِ وَالْأَرْضِ, and in the floating cloud subjugated between the sky and the earth. Very amazing. لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَعْقِلُونَ, there are indeed signs for a folk who think. Subhanallah, when a person's kafir, so many things just look so normal to him. Just imagine his ignorance, yani. He's not amazed by anything. He doesn't even think about God hardly, or doesn't remember God. Only when he needs help, he says, oh God, help me. As long as everything's fine, doesn't matter. That's what some scholars said about the camel. They said the camel, because people see it all the time, it became, or they deemed it normal. But if you think well, you will find this camel very amazing. لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَعْقِلُونَ, there are indeed signs for a folk who think. So take that ayah 164, Surat Al-Baqarah. You need evidence for mental proof, using your mind, using the creations to prove that God is not like the creation. All of what's here in the marvels in heavens and earth, and the alternation of day and night, and the ships sailing through the sea, and the water coming out of the sky, and the plants coming out of the ground, and the creatures crawling, and the winds fluctuating, and the cloud between the earth and the sky, all of that so that we can know that Allah is not like his creations and that he has power. That's what are you supposed to be thinking about? لِقَوْمٍ يَعْقِلُونَ, thinking about the creation to exalt the creator. Thinking about the creation to exalt the creator. Exalting the creator here is clearing the creator from being like anything and confirming his power over everything possible. وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَن يَتَّخِذُ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ أَندَادًا, and among the people is he who takes on idols as contenders for his worship, instead of worshiping only Allah. يُحِبُّونَهُمْ كَحُبِّ اللَّهِ, loving them, those idols, with the love of God. Loving them with the love of God, they admit that Allah is the creator of heavens and earth. But they equate the idols to him and do not love him more than them. They don't love God more than they love their idols. Like Christians, they don't love God more than they love Jesus because they equated them. How did they love God more than they love Jesus when they equated them? That's blasphemy. SubhanAllah. Allahu Akbar. It was said that the verse means that they love their idols as the believers love Allah. يُحِبُّونَهُمْ كَحُبِّ اللَّهِ, loving them with the love of God. And they love their idols like the believers love Allah. That's one way to explain it. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ, and those who believed are stronger in their love for Allah than the pagans are in their love for their idols. وَلَوْ يَرَى الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا إِذْ يَرَوْنَ الْعَذَابَ أَنَّ الْقُوَّةَ لِلَّهِ جَمِيعًا, and had those who were unjust by taking on contenders seen, when they behold the torture on Judgment Day, that the power belongs to Allah entirely. وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ شَدِيدُ الْعَذَابِ, and that Allah is severe in torture. Had they seen that, then they would not have unjustly taken contenders. So there's something implied. Yani, the ayah by itself, starting here, وَلَوْ يَرَى الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا, and had those who were unjust seen, إِذْ يَرَوْنَ الْعَذَابِ, when they behold the torture, أَنَّ الْقُوَّةَ لِلَّهِ جَمِيعًا, that the power belongs to Allah entirely. وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ شَدِيدُ الْعَذَابِ, and that Allah is severe in torture. And then it's like dot, dot, dot. Had they, then what? So that's where the tafsir comes in. Then they would not have unjustly taken contenders. So that's that which is not stated there, which we filled in parentheses. That's what those old Arabs would be understanding without somebody to give them a tafsir. إِذْ تَبَرَّأَ الَّذِينَ اتُّبِعُوا مِنَ الَّذِينَ اتَّبَعُوا, on Judgment Day, when those who were followed shall, while they see the torture, renounce misguiding those who followed. إِذْ تَبَرَّأَ الَّذِينَ اتُّبِعُوا مِنَ الَّذِينَ اتَّبَعُوا وَرَأَوُا الْعَذَابَ, while they see the torture, they disavow them while they see the torture. So those were the influencers. The influencers will disavow those whom they influenced when they see the torture. وَتَقَطَّعَتْ بِهِمُ الْأَسْبَابِ, and severed from them are all their ties of kinship, love, and agreement in religion. On that day, won't matter to them. That they were family won't matter. That they had the same race won't matter. That's why, subhanAllah, you need to be careful about that. Don't let someone influence you here about something that's not going to matter on Judgment Day. You had the same color, it's not going to matter on Judgment Day. Or the likes of those things won't matter. Their ties will be severed on that day. They will hate each other. وقال الذين اتبعوا لو أن لنا كرة فنتبرأ منهم كما تبرأوا منا. And those who followed, that means those who are influenced, they shall say, had only we had another chance in the earthly life. This is why Judgment Day is so severe. You can't go back. Yani, this is why the warning of the Quran is so severe. The warning of the Quran is not light. It's not joke. Allah warns us very clearly. This is a day, if you arrive on this day not prepared, you're going to not be happy about it. وَقَالَ الَّذِينَ اتَّبَعُوا لَوْ أَنَّ لَنَا كَرَّةً فَنَتَبَرَّأَ مِنْهُمْ كَمَا تَبَرَّؤُوا مِنَّا. And those who followed shall say, had only we had another chance in the earthly life. لَوْ أَنَّ لَنَا كَرَّةً, had only we had another chance. فَنَتَبَرَّأَ مِنْهُمْ, yeah, but they're not going to get another chance. So that we could renounce them as they have now renounced us. كَذَلِكَ يُرِيهِمُ اللَّهُ أَعْمَالَهُمْ حَسَرَاتٍ عَلَيْهِمْ, like Allah shows them the torture, and like they renounce each other, thus does Allah show them their evil deeds of idolatry as regrets upon them. So there, كَذَلِكَ, like that, like what? Like Allah shows them the torture, and like they renounce each other, thus does Allah show them their evil deeds of idolatry as regrets upon them. وَمَا هُمْ بِخَارِجِينَ مِنَ النَّارِ. And it is not they who shall come out of the fire, someone else. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Stop there.